Now we're going to talk about some of the small pieces of equipment that we use in the bake shop. These particular items are what we call a palette knife or a spatula, an icing spatula. They're different from the kitchen spatulas because they're used to frost cakes. They come in different sizes and they're used for different size cakes. So you want to make sure you use the right tool for the right job. Using something like this on a cupcake would just not be the right tool. You want to use a smaller one. Okay. This, although it's a spatula, are rubber spatulas. These are used to take food out of bowls. They're not used to frost the cakes. Okay. These are used to take the shape of the bowl, and we scrape frosting or batters out of bowls with them. They also come in various sizes. This is a bench scraper or a dough cutter. So it can be used for a couple different things. When cleaning a baking bench, we scrape with it to remove particles from the bench. We scrape with the grooves of the wood. When using it to cut dough, we use it in place of a knife and simply use it to cut into the dough itself and separate it. This is a pie spatula. It takes the shape of the cake, a cake wedge or a pie wedge, and it's used to release it from the pan. Okay. Pastry brush, used for things like egg wash, brushing a baked product, cleaning the sides of a pan when you're melting sugar. This is an ice pick. In the bake shop, we use it to break chocolate. Take care, it's a very sharp edges, and we use it on a cutting board to break up large chunks of chocolate before melting or tempering. A pizza cutter or a pizza wheel, we use it for cutting things like croissants, Danish, focaccia, or pizza. Again, the blade has a sharp edge. This is a Kaiser roll form. It's used to stamp into the top of a rounded roll, and it takes the shape of a Kaiser roll or a bulky roll. These are candy thermometers. They go to a very high temperature and they test the temperature of sugar when we make frostings or confectionery items. They both have clips that go onto the side of the pan, and they should be treated with care when you wash them so they don't get extreme hot and cold temperatures. This is a dough docker, and a dough docker is used to score or poke holes into a dough, like focaccia or pizza dough, so that we don't have large bubbles when we bake the baked good. This is a wooden rolling pin. A lot of bake shops now also use a tapered French rolling pin without the handles. This is a standard rolling pin, and we should wipe them down. They're made of wood. Wood should not be immersed into water. It should be wiped dry so that it doesn't crack, and we never immerse it because of the ball bearings. We don't want to put it in a sink of soapy water. This is a flexible whip. It's used when we make things like meringues or if we want to incorporate air into a product while whipping it in a pan. This is a dredger. A dredger is used for powdered sugar, cocoa, sprinkling an item with something, has holes in the top, and may or may not have a handle. Not all dredgers have handles. In the bake shop, we use a variety of ice cream scoops. There's a few reasons we use them. The most important is uniformity. When we scoop an item, we want to make sure that all of the cookies or all of the muffins are of the same size. So by using an ice cream scoop, this ensures that they're going to be the same size, they'll cook the same length of time, and they'll have the same food cost at the end of the day. So we use all different scoops, and they're usually identified by the color. Some will have a colored tip on the bottom, some will have a colored handle. The size of the scoop is listed on this inside piece that's called the dasher, and it has a number inside. We use several different types of cutters in the bake shop. They have fluted and regular, and they come generally in sets of graduated sizes. We use them to cut things like biscuits, donuts, scones, cookies. These are different porcelain ramekins that are used for things like creme brulee, custards, pâte de crème. They come in various sizes. They range from 2 ounces to 6 ounces, and they have just a different look to them depending on the shape or size you want to use for the baked product. This is a pastry bag. Pastry bags are used for things like filling pastries, piping out frosting. We generally use them by folding down and making a collar. And then we add in a tip. The tips come either star tip or straight. and we drop them right into the bag, and then we fill them accordingly. This is a form that we use to fill a pastry bag. It ensures that I have one hand free and I'm allowed to take the frosting, mix it in, and not have any kind of spillage on the outside of the collar, which makes frosting and piping out pastries a little bit neater. The indentations around the bottom of the form are for the various size tips. This is a torch. The torch is used for things like creme brulee or meringue toppings. We fill it with butane on the bottom, and then we don't have to put the item under a broiler. We just torch it to brown it. This is a strainer or a sifter. It's used mostly for sugar, but often a recipe will call for you to sift your cake flour to remove any dry lumps. If you have a large quantity, then we would use a larger sifter. The larger sifter has a wood frame, and we generally dry it out in the kitchen, and we try not to submerge it in water, causing the wood to swell or crack.